It was kind of you to walk into my trap so willingly. I was so tired of your meddling. Corypheus insisted that the Empress die tonight, and I would hate to disappoint him. Celine's death is a stepping stone on the path to a better world. Corypheus will enter the Black City and claim the godhood waiting for him.
When your archers failed to kill me in the garden, I feared you wouldn't save me this last dance. You lost this fight ages ago, Your Grace. You're just the last to find out. We have the note to your general ordering him to move troops covertly into the palace grounds. There were also the threats Gaspard made to the Council of Heralds to bully them into giving him the crown.
In light of overwhelming evidence, we have no choice but to declare you an enemy of the Empire. You are hereby sentenced to death. I introduce the newest member of our court, Marquise Briala of the Dales.
By imperial decree, I have been named liaison to the Inquisition.
The matter is urgent, Lady Josephine.
I am well aware of that, revered mother.
We will need them to return to Val Royeaux as soon as possible. There are ceremonies, ordinations. Make us mercy.
That's quite impossible at the moment. However, I will see to this matter as soon as possible.
My Lady Inquisitor, please, may I have a word with you?
How may I assist you, revered mother?
With the political turmoil put to rest, our minds turn to a single question. The next divine. We cannot answer it without the left and right hands of Divine Justinia V.
I have already told you, revered mother. Lady Leliana and Seeker Cassandra cannot be spared from their duties.
But surely with the support of the Empire, the Inquisition will not be harmed by the loss of just 2 souls.
Why do you need Liliana and Cassandra?
They were Her Holiness's most trusted advisors. They represent her legacy, her hopes for peace in Thedas. They could rally the Grand Clerics to follow as no candidate from the clergy has been able to.
Are the Grand Clerics truly unable to elect a divine?
Everyone with the political support to succeed Justinia perished alongside her. Those who remain are unable to gather the majority of votes from the conclave of Grand Clerics. They have been deadlocked for too long. Lady Liliana and Seeker Cassandra were Justinia's most trusted friends and advisors. Our late divine is still held in high esteem. To honor her, the Grand Clerics might support one of them as successor.
How long does the Chantry need them?
Several months, at least. If one of them is crowned divine, she would not be returning to the Inquisition.
Liliana and Cassandra would have to make that decision for themselves.
And they certainly will, at a later date. The Inquisitor has only just returned and has important business to attend to. You must excuse us, revered mother. Don't let them detract from your victory at Alam-Shiral. We've beaten his wardens and stopped his intrigues. Soon, Corypheus will have no place to hide. Cullen is hoping to press our advantage. We'll plan our next attack when you're ready.
It's time to plan our next attack. What's the state of the Inquisition?
Our alliance with Orlais holds. For the present. They'll send aid on request.
And your actions at Adamant denied Corypheus his army of pet demons. With Orlais' support, our numbers match his. Corypheus' followers must be panicking.
My agents agree. Our victories have shaken his disciples.
Perhaps they'll rethink following the Darkspawn Magister from the dawn of time. Where is Corypheus now?
After you dealt with the Duchess, Corypheus uprooted his major strongholds. He's moving south to the Arbor Wilds. His army clearly wasn't prepared to flee. Our victories have them on the defensive.
Good of Corypheus to make it easy to find him. If he's hiding in the Arbor Wilds, that's where we finish him.
But what is Corypheus doing in such a remote area?
His people have been ransacking elven ruins since Haven. We believe he seeks more. What he hopes to find, however, continues to elude us.
Which should surprise no one. Fortunately, I can assist.
You have my attention, Lady Morrigan.
What Corypheus seeks in those forgotten woods is as ancient as it is dangerous.
Which is?
'Tis best if I show you. If this place once had a name, it has long been lost. I call it the Crossroads, a place where all Illuvians join, wherever they might be.
This place is extraordinary. How could this even exist?
Who can say? Formed from the fabric of time and space, perhaps. The ancient elves left no roads, only ruins hidden in far-flung corners. This is how they traveled between them. As you can see, most of the mirrors are dark, broken, corrupted, or unusable. As for the rest, a few can be opened from this side, but only a few.
How did you find out about this place?
My travels have led me to many strange destinations, Inquisitor. Once, they led me here. It offered sanctuary.
Sanctuary?
Not all the mirrors lead back to our world. The ancients were nothing if not resourceful.
If they don't lead back to our world, then...
Places between, like this one. I can describe it no better. For a time, I had a safe place to raise my son. But only for a time. One cannot remain in between forever.
What do you mean, a few can be opened from this side?
Some of the Illuvians have been left unlocked, like doors accidentally left ajar. All others are closed. They can be opened only from beyond.
Opened how?
With a key.
I suppose you have such a key?
The key can be many things. Each Illuvian is different. I have knowledge as well as power. Often that is enough.
Corypheus wants to come here.
This is not the Fade, but it is very close. Someone with enough power could tear down the ancient barriers.
And enter the Fade in the flesh, like Corypheus wanted to do with the Anchor.
He learned of the Illuvian in the Arbor Wilds as I did. He marshals the last of his forces to reach it. You have made Corypheus desperate, Inquisitor. We must work together to stop him, and soon.
You're the Inquisitor. Mother never told me the Inquisitor was an elf.
That's not such a terrible thing, is it?
No, I just don't know why your people want to look like that.
Kieran, are you bothering the Inquisitor?
Of course not. Did you see what's on her hand, Mother?
I did see. 'Tis time to return to your studies, little man. My son. Never where you expect him to be, naturally.
I didn't know you had a son.
Why would you? I take great pains to not let my own reputation affect him in any way. To most in the Imperial Court, he's simply a quiet and well-spoken lad. Perhaps the heir of some distant family. But he goes where I go. Worry not, Inquisitor. Kieran is a curious boy, but seldom troublesome.
Will his father be joining us as well?
I have raised Kieran on my own for quite some time now, as was my preference from the start. So 'tis but the two of us, Inquisitor. Your fortress is a large place, and you will scarce notice our presence.
There's something rather unusual about him.
There is. He is a special lad. It falls to me to protect him from anything and anyone that mean him ill. Most of all, he must be protected from myself. No one could harm him more than I. To think, until recently this place stood decrepit, occupied only by the desperate and the lost. Now it is party to events that threaten to shake the world. I wonder if it is pleased.
It sounds like you've heard of Skyhold before.
This fortress was built upon the remains of a site holy to the ancient elves. They called it Salan, the place where the sky is kept. It is said that from here, they reached up to the heavens to bring them down to rest. They abandoned it, as did the humans who came after them. Bones laid upon bones, silent until your arrival.
I like this place. I've made it mine.
The magic in this place has seeped into the stones, protecting it from darkness. Those who let it fall to ruin did not know what they possessed. You, I think, shall do it justice. You were kind to welcome my aid, Inquisitor, even knowing as little of me as you do. I will do my best to aid your cause with all the knowledge at my disposal. This I swear to you.
I appreciate whatever help you can give us.
Some might think Corypheus a madman for seeking godhood. Yet one must ask, what were the old gods? What secrets of theirs did the ancient magisters know? What I fear, what all should fear, is not that Corypheus believes he can succeed. 'Tis that he actually may. I understand you have spared the Grey Wardens from destroying what goodwill was left them. 'Tis good of you, considering the weakness Corypheus exploited was their own doing. Still, should a true archdemon one day arise, they will no doubt be needed. Or so they would have us believe. One thing which makes me curious, did you encounter the hero of Ferelden at Adamant Fortress?
Was the hero of Ferelden a friend of yours?
We traveled together during the time she fought the Blight. I helped her, and she helped me. Indeed, without her, my son would never have been born. Regardless, did you see her?
I wish I had more to tell you, but no, I don't think so.
She's not the sort of woman to fade into the background. If she was there, you would have known. I imagine your forces will be heading into the Arbor Wilds very soon, Inquisitor. Trust me when I say that wherever the Alluvian is hidden, it is worth any effort to prevent Corypheus from acquiring it.
Now that you've seen the Inquisition up close, what are your impressions?
'Tis remarkable what you have built. I will give you that. Leniana has built a network of spies beyond anything Thedas has seen. All this in precious little time, conjured from thin air through the power of fervor alone. I wonder if Corypheus suspected what he was enabling, just as I wonder what will become of all this once he is defeated.
We have to defeat him first. Then I'll worry about what's next.
Should that happen, the world will lie at your feet, more or less. Beware the heights you reach, Inquisitor. When this is done, many will be eager to knock you back down.
I'd like to know more about you.
Ah yes, whence comes the mystery woman slinking her way into the Inquisition's ranks? Once I was an apostate, living well away from the banal influence of the Chantry in the Kukari Wilds. Then came the Fifth Blight with its darkspawn, and I left Ferelden for the Empress's court. 'Tis certain the nobles of Orlais breathe a collective sigh of relief that I am now here.
You were in Ferelden during the Blight?
The Blight began in the Kukari Wilds, so yes, I experienced it firsthand. Indeed, I fought at the hero of Ferelden's side for a time. She is the reason the Blight was defeated. I wish things had gone differently in the end. It had to be, yet. And after that, I came to Orlais. The last place one would look for me, or such was my hope.
The Orlesian court seems like an odd place to find someone like you.
That was the point, originally. I knew the Empress was intrigued by the arcane, and that I could answer questions no Chantry mage could. Thus, we fit together nicely. I became her advisor, and she my benefactor and source of refuge. Truth be told, our arrangement would not have lasted much longer. Too many wagging tongues, even for Celine.
It's odd that an apostate could live so openly.
It confuses those who expect apostates to cower and hide. I stand boldly before them and demand to know why I need some chantry mage to teach me to control my power. They would put me on a leash so they can feel safer at night. I am uninterested in their comfort. Naturally, it helps to have friends in high places.
Tell me more about your son.
He is a very special young man.
Special in what way?
In every way. At first, Kieran was a means to an end. But as he grew, I never thought of myself as a mother inquisitor. I had no good example to follow. I find myself becoming something I can barely recognize.
I'll leave you to the garden.
Of course.
Planning troop movements now.
I'm trying to imagine what it will look like when we're done. All of this once belonged to the Tevinter Imperium. Andraste changed that, as did the Blights. As for what will come next, I cannot guess the Maker's plan.
We make the world a better place.
Because everyone agrees on what better means. I know I want a world where people trust the Chantry and that trust is respected. I want to respect tradition, but not fear change. I want to right past wrongs, but not avenge them. And I have no idea if my wanting these things makes any of them right.
Even if they're not right, they're certainly admirable.
Some would disagree. They would call it heresy.
That didn't sound like the ravings of a heretic, Cassandra.
Perhaps not. But it takes precious little effort to paint even an act of compassion as damaging. Tell me, what guides you? You make decisions that shake the world, yet always seem so assured. I wish I had your confidence.
You almost sound like you admire me.
I absolutely do. I may not always agree with your decisions, but how many could do what you have done? You were a prisoner, accused and reviled, yet you've emerged from every trial victorious. The Maker's grace does not make you immortal. You live or die by your own hand. That is worthy of admiration.
I'm guided by what my conscience tells me.
Your conscience must speak more clearly than mine.
I doubt it, but I do my best.
Think of it. Like Andraste long ago, once again the fate of Thedas will be determined by a woman. It makes me proud to know you.
I hope we can call each other friends.
I hope so too. We still have a long road to travel, Inquisitor. Wherever it takes us, I am glad you're here.
Marvelous business, the Winter Palace. Saving the day, reconciling lovers, mediating a civil war. So sugary, it's nauseating. All this dancing, politics, and murder makes me a bit homesick.
Happy to oblige. A taste of home, just for you.
Not just for me. Fun for the whole family.
Perhaps I should have invited some.
We were there. That's what counts.
I hope you tried the ham they were serving, by the way.
Tasted of despair. It's fascinating.
I should go.
Try not to kill anyone without me.
I expected the hero Ferelden to be at Adamant, but she was not with the other wardens. She studied the Blight after killing the Archdemon, and may know something that could help us. If you like, I can have agents look for her.
That sounds like a wise choice.
I'll make preparations in the war room. Now, was there anything else?
You seem to know a great many people.
I have made friends, and on occasion enemies. It's unavoidable.
What do you know of Morrigan?
She's changed. She used to be so disagreeable, cruel. She said things just to hurt people. Now the sharp edges have worn away. Perhaps it was Kieran. He seems so normal, like any other little boy. And so polite. Not that I was expecting anything else. I mean... never mind. Silveric knew where the champion was all along. That's the last time we sent Cassandra to interrogate.
Anything I should know?
Celine has cemented power in Orlais. Good, we need an ally like her. At the moment, she's said to be rooting out the last of Gaspard's supporters. Once that is done, we will have a united Orlais behind the Inquisition.
I'll leave you to your work.
I need to have a few words with my publisher. The first one will be you, and the second one will be Bastard. They've claimed for years my crime serials don't sell in Orlais. So why is the Council of Heralds asking me for autographs? Sorry, distracted. Anyway, you need something?
There are spirits hovering by the veil to observe the thrones of powerful nations. The machinations, betrayals. After our time in Halam Shiral, I understand why. I had forgotten how I missed court intrigue.
I'm pleased you had a good time.
Political gambits? Broken promises? Half-truths? It is a palace full of motivation. And motivation is where great things happen. In any event, Celine should now be a steadfast ally. And Briala as well, thanks to your efforts on her behalf. Venan.
I'd like to hear more about what you saw in your exploration of the Fade.
I would be happy to share it with you.
Tell me about the old ruins you explored.
I found an ancient dwarven thaig no longer sheltered by the stone. An earthquake had exposed it all to daylight. 1,000 dwarven corpses lay, the victims of a dark-spawn horde. Their last stand marked by one great ring of armor. In the middle, one small body, clutching tightly to a small stuffed toy.
Tell me about a spirit you encountered.
The Alamari crossed the Frostback Mountains to escape a beast they called the Shadow Goddess in their story. I met the spirit that they fled. She walks the Fade along the southern tundra, weeping lonely and forgotten. Great Ferelden formed because a lonely spirit drove her prey away.
Tell me about the old memories you found in the Fade.
I saw a dwarf emerge into the light of day and shield his eyes against the sun. The first time he had seen it, the tears were streaming from his eyes. I thought them from the blazing light, until I saw the rock he held so tightly. Then he laid the rock down gently, and he left it as he walked away.
We'll talk later.
Dareth Shira.
You wanted to see me?
Bull! I got it! Iposte sala talvasoth.
Yeah, my soul's dust. Yours is scattered all over the ground, though, so... Sorry, boss. I thought I might need backup. Guess I'm not even worth sending professionals for.
You knew the assassins were coming?
Little change in the guard rotation tipped me off.
Why didn't you tell me ahead of time?
You go through years of Ben Hasrith training to hide facial expressions when I wasn't looking? See? Like that. If I'd warned you with the guards, the assassins would have been tipped off.
Are you all right?
Fine. Hurt myself worse than this fooling around in bed.
What if they used poison?
Oh, they definitely used poison. Sarcomec, liquid form. If I hadn't been dosing myself with the antidote, I'd be going crazy and puking my guts up right now. As it is, it stings like shit. But that's about it.
I hoped the Ben Hasrath would let you go.
They did. Sending 2 guys with blades against me? That's not a hit. That's a formality. Just making it clear that I'm Talvashoth. Talva fucking Shoth.
Are you going to be all right?
It's a knife wound, boss. I think I'll live. I'm fine. Thanks. Anyway, I'll get this cleaned up and let Red know what happened. Boss, whatever I miss, whatever I regret, this is where I want to be. Whenever you need an ass kicked, the Iron Bull is with you.
I'd be perfectly happy never again setting foot in the Winter Palace. It wasn't the gossip and backstabbing, I know what the game entails, but the indifference to it all.
I didn't care for it myself.
I shouldn't be surprised. The Chantry can be the same. Their politics are less extravagant, but just as heated. The Empress rules a country. The Divine influences half a continent.
May I ask you something?
Of course.
Do you think Templars should cease to exist?
No. I may have chosen to leave that life, but I respect those who remain. Magic ungoverned could tear the world apart. It's doing so now. Templars are trained and able to confront such dangers.
What would you suggest?
Some call the Circle a prison that can only breed resentment. Perhaps opportunities to work outside the Circle. A mixed military service or healers' clinics with Templar support. And there must be a safer way for Templars to leave. Templars can lose their memories to lyrium. Some call it a gift, to forget the failed harrowings, the demons. Some atrocities haunt me still. But to lose what good I can recall, I nearly lost my mind once. It is no gift.
Do you think that could work? Would people accept it?
Mages would be watched, but could pursue interests outside the Circle. Neither freedom nor prison. I don't know.
You still regret the man you became after leaving Ferelden?
After the Ferelden Circle, I thought all mages were like the ones there. Knight Commander Meredith's methods were harsh, but they kept people safe.
You said Meredith was unstable.
She was my Knight Commander. I had no reason to distrust her. She wasn't wrong about the Blood Mages in Kirkwall. Meredith encouraged my anger towards the mages. There was only so far I would go, and she knew that too. I was her second in command. She kept decisions from me, those I would question. I believed she was serving the city. I never thought to question her, not until it was too late.
You can't control everything. You stood up to her in the end.
If I hadn't, would I be like her now? I wanted mages locked away as much as she did. I trusted they were treated reasonably well, but I should have done more. I should have looked into it. It's not yet enough. The Inquisition is my chance to atone. I will see it through.
You've mentioned siblings. With everything that's happening, do you know if they're all right?
I've received word from my eldest sister. She was always good at tracking me down. South Reach has experienced the same chaos as everywhere else. My family is fine. Pray they remain so.
Your sister tracked you down. She didn't know where you were.
I let her know I was in Haven. She assumed I survived. It's not the first time. I may have neglected to tell her when I was transferred to Kirkwall.
Why?
I wasn't in a good state. I wanted only to leave. I received an angry letter about my disappearance 2 years later. For all her reprimands, it was a relief to hear from someone who knew me before the Blight.
The Inquisition won't last forever. What will you do when this is over?
To be honest, I hadn't given it much thought until recently. I'm not used to having so many possibilities.
That's all I wanted to know.
Another time, then.
I do not believe a reminder is necessary for this accused. Her capture and disgrace could not have been more public. Grand Duchess Floriane de Chalon, although her titles are among the dignities already at risk of forfeiture. You spared her life despite her treachery. What becomes of it now falls to you.
Out of your element, Floriane. Welcome to the Inquisition. My party.
Despite her posture, Lady Floriane has acknowledged your authority.
Should I curse you on behalf of the Elder One? I realize he had no intention of honoring the concordats I manipulated. Do as you must. I respect your mastery of the game, even as I despise your victory. Celine does not know her fortune.
She has caused no end of misery. It's time she brought some joy. Grand Duchess Floriane de Chalon, jester to the Inquisition, in flat shoes.
History's greatest malevolence, Inquisitor. I am the jest of Orlais already.